Hi, I'm Courtney Cox, and I play Gale Weathers in the Scream franchise, all 6 of them. I loved it from the second I read it. First of all, I was just so happy that I survived Scream 5. The writers are incredible, and it's so scary, and I was so excited that Gale Weathers was back in it. She's evolved so much since the very beginning. Gale was very aggressive and only out for herself, and then you see a softer side of her around Scream 3, and then this particular one, I think she got a bit of her edge back, which was nice. She is relentless. She won't stop, even if she promises she will. Sam and Tara have moved to New York, and that's where Gale has a morning show. And she hears about Ghostface because of the news, and she had written a book, and she wasn't supposed to. She promised she wouldn't, and she gets back involved in their lives. She becomes a part of the group, and she becomes a target for Ghostface. New York is a perfect place to have this movie set. Ghostface can hide amongst so many people, and yet he can see you. He's always there to see you, but you don't necessarily know where he is. And especially set around this time of, the Halloween time of year where people are in costumes. It's just genius. I think it's added so much horror to it just by the location. These films to me are so frightening and gory in a good way. It's so realistic, the way they do the special effects and the stabbings, but I think that people are gonna go nuts. It's so much fun, and to see this with an audience and the build and the excitement and the laughter. Matt and Tyler, our directors, they're huge fans of Wes. I think Wes was a huge inspiration to them just in their directing career alone. They are so hip, they're so visual, they're such great people, they're so open, and yet they know exactly what they want. Every time, the last time and then this time, they just keep elevating it, and they don't ride on their laurels of last time it was such a great film. They amped it up in every way, and the writers did, and it's just, I think they're incredible. One of the things that I think Kevin Williamson and of course Wes Craven brought to this franchise, and what they did was they created a horror film that, besides the meta and going and telling us what we shouldn't do in a horror film and then we do it, everything was played realistically. So it's not campy. While it's really funny, it's played seriously. So I just think what they did with the comedy and then the horror, but you actually are invested in the characters more than, you're not laughing at them. You really don't want them to go because they're so engaging, and I think what Wes created is incredible. And then the guys, they just ran with it and made it up to date, more frightening. Everything that Wes would have done, wanted to have done, and the guys did it. I think people will love seeing Kirby again. Hayden is a great actor. I loved seeing her and getting reacquainted with her after so many years. She was a great character, and she's got such attitude and in a great way. She's funny. I think people will love it. It was great to be on set with Hayden. She's such a nice girl, and she's such a talented actor. Yeah, I just had a really good time with her. I worked with Dermot before. He was on Friends, and he's just such a great guy. He brought so much fun to the set. He's a big storyteller. People just are engaged in what he's saying all the time. I don't know, I think he brought a lot of heart to the film. And when you're so when you're so honest as an actor, it's just nice to have, grounds things. I think that the kills in this movie are, I don't know how the Ghostface's arm didn't fall off. I've never seen more stabbings, more things. It was unbelievable. And like I said, after the first one, I just had to stop looking because it's crazy. There's more stabbings per person than I've ever seen. And they found some new places to get stabbed, to stab people. You have to make it bigger and better. Of course, people expect that. If you didn't, it would, you have to amp it up every time. And they accomplished that. They did a great job.
The starting point for each of these characters, and all the returning actors, Melissa and Jenna and Mason and Jasmin, are incredible in terms of that. and they have a whole movie's worth of character that they build on in this one. So it's amazing to be a part of that. The directors, Matt and Tyler, really brought, why that works so well is because they brought even more truth of character to the roles. Well, I'll add to that in the way that these directors are bringing more, more interesting emotional life to these characters. So, obviously, so it means more when they're attacked or in trouble or brutally hacked up into bits, whichever scene you're referring to.
I feel like the best pro and the con are the exact same thing, and it's that it's just a huge city and there's so many people. Because you look at that and you're like, okay, pro, there's a lot of people, so like, how is Ghostface gonna attack me if I'm in front of all these people, if it's crowded, we're on a subway or wherever. But then also, that's the biggest con as well. That was another one where all of us were together, which is just like my favorite thing because first of all, the cast is like incredible. We're all so very close. And so that was fun. And also just hearing it from Mindy, who is related to Randy, who literally starts the whole rules of a franchise. It was just, and Jasmin killed it. That was like a 4-page monologue that this queen did. And she did it every single time. And we were all just like chilling, having a great, nice day. And she was like, doing all the work for us. So it was great. They are two of the most incredible people I've ever met. Oh my gosh, they're so great. They're so supportive. They are just incredible people, let alone directors. And I've never worked with 2 directors before, and I wasn't really sure how it was gonna go. And they work so well together. They are the kindest humans I've ever met, and I cannot imagine doing this with anybody else. There's a whole new generation of fans and people that are going to be watching this. It's new, it's light until, all of the deaths. But I think it's nice to see, especially with the legacy characters and all of the new characters, it's going to be fun to introduce this franchise, this iconic franchise, to a whole new generation of people.
Well, I'm a New Yorker, so I loved that part. But it also brings... It's one thing to be in a small town, which has its own sense of creepiness and, nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. But then when you're in a big city, there's a completely different version of there's nowhere to run, there's nowhere to hide. It could be anybody. The killer could be anybody. I mean, it could be you, it could be the person you're standing next to, and it brings, about the opportunity for shock, surprise. I mean, you just really don't know what you're gonna see. I've never been directed by 2 directors, but their transition between the 2 of them is so smooth. They know how to work together so well, and they've just brought us along for the ride. Oh my gosh. I've always been a fan of Dermot. And I just knew, I had no expectations. I just knew that no matter what it was, I was gonna walk in a fan, I'm gonna walk out a fan. But he had me laughing so hard on the first day that I went outside during one of the breaks and somebody wanted to take a picture and I tried to smile and my cheeks were shaking. They were so exercised. I haven't smiled that much in so long, but Dermot is such a multifaceted actor, human being, and he brings all of that to this character. Courtney's just so talented and funny and fun. She brings all of those elements to the character, so I can only imagine. I mean, she puts her whole self into it, so I'm sure it's gonna be badass.
I said, hey, look, I really want to be a part of this. I will do anything. Send me the audition. And he's like, whoa, the script's not finished yet. But, when it is, I'll send it to you. And I was like, okay. So I waited 3 months. I did the audition, got a call back, and then met the directors, who are literally the nicest people on the planet. and it was just like a blast to just jam with them about different ways to, do the audition. Coming from a fan who loved the previous movies to work with Courtney and Hayden, not only are they legends in the Scream universe, but also just in acting in the industry, they're awesome. So it was just really like a pinch me moment to work with them. I was actually a huge fan of the franchise, and I was a fan of every movie, and I knew that it was like one of the first self-aware horror movie franchises, and Ghostface is an iconic killer. So, I was just jumped at the opportunity to be part of this. I think it's, if not more scary, to be in a place filled with people when you don't know who the killer is, I feel like that would be, in my opinion, more scary because it's full of people. You don't know, who they are. They could come out of anywhere, in your apartment, on the street, in the subway. It's like you're not safe anywhere.
Moving the Core Four from Woodsboro to New York feels very of the moment and of their generation. Like, I don't know that many young people who want to stay in their small town. And putting them in New York gives them more opportunities, obviously, to be slashed and murdered, but also gives them more opportunity to expand their friend group and have more friends and have more diversity in their circle and be exposed to more ideas and thoughts, which I think lends itself to Ghostface being so much more brutal, because Ghostface is also exposed to more ideas and more ways of murdering, slicing and dicing. I just love these people so much, and I would do anything to work with them every day for the rest of my life. Seriously, it's my favorite cast ever, my favorite crew ever. And I just love all the time that we've had to just go on walks together, ride bikes, and just enjoy a summer together in Montreal. It's a beautiful city. I fell in love with the city. And I want to live here forever with all of them. I think they're going to love Hayden and Dermot. I think they're going to love Gale. I think they're going to love the family aspect and how all of the characters have developed a bit more. And I think that Jenna Ortega is one of the best actresses of her generation, and everyone's going to love her in this movie. She is very intelligent, but says what she's feeling all of the time. And we get to see different levels of that in this movie, which I'm excited about.
The last Scream that we did was probably the greatest time I've ever had on a set. Just truly the most wonderful, sweetest cast, crew. So I think that anytime you get to work with people that you love, you're very, very lucky. I feel very, very fortunate. But then two, it's I came into this job knowing it was just going to be a good time, and it wasn't going to feel like work, which is really, really cool. Matt and Tyler, the way that they operate sets, I think that people tend to like them a lot because they're pretty chill and they know what they want, and they don't make things more complicated than they need to be. What I think is really wonderful about the relationship between Tara and Sam in Scream 5 is, well, I view Tara as a very empathetic person. She's very loving and I think pretty forgiving. I think that the conversation that Sam and Tara has in the hospital is pretty rare for them, and I think that that's really it's really interesting of Tara, considering Sam left her for 5 years, and so they kind of start close and then they're at odds and then they're close together again because they've been bonded not only by their sisterhood but this traumatic experience that they've gone through together. But coming into the second one, time has passed. Yes, of course, Tara loves her sister, and it's been so nice to have her re-enter her life. The only issue is now Sam will not leave her alone for a second. And I think that any teenager kind of understands, or just anyone in general, sometimes you just need your space. Sometimes you're just worn down, and Tara does not have that opportunity. So again, we're kind of going at each other's throats, but a bit more intensely than we were in the last one. The incredible thing about what they're doing with this story is, it's kind of insane. They've people of color as the leads, people of color who are surviving, an openly queer woman of color surviving and becoming this staple in the franchise. So important, not only for people watching, but then also just for accuracy of the time and making the film a bit more relatable. And Jasmin is one of the funniest people I know. The love I have for that woman is unbelievable, and she knows it, and I know it, but that's definitely one of the stronger relationships that I've built in my lifetime. I was a huge Kirby fan as well. I watch it, and I was one of those people. I didn't even know that it was a thing online or within the community that, oh, Kirby's still alive. I watch it, and I refuse to believe that she died. So that was pretty nice. There's a huge Mexican horror community, which is cool because then they get to see themselves, you know? That feeling, I feel like people don't understand, and guys here are so cool. You know, they took a chance, and I feel really, really lucky, and it also was very, very smart of them.
I mean, what's not to dig about a horror movie, you know? You gotta shoot a couple of these in your lifetime. Running around, running through subway stations, running away from killers and getting to fight and getting to throw hands. And no, what attracted me about this, I didn't even read the script before I auditioned for this. I don't think any of us were allowed to. They were all secretive about it. But no, you knew the franchise and you knew what you were jumping into. Come on, man, it's exactly it. Like, for me, I have so much pride in shooting in New York, you know, the fact that we're repping New York City, we're shooting in the subway. Like, I just love the idea of Ghostface running through New York, you know? Like, ooh, boy, that'd be scary as hell, that man running around. New York City's a perfect scenario, it's a perfect setting for this, for Scream 6. It's like all those crevices, all those nooks and crannies, all those dark spots in the city. Daddy's new to the group. I won't even say he's in the group yet, you know? There's a lot of skepticism about who this guy is next door. I would even say that maybe Sam doesn't even know if she can truly trust him at this point. The days we were shooting all that ladder stuff was really fun. That's a fun exercise for any actor, to ramp right up into it, to get there. And that's what that was. 5 days in a row for all of us was at 110 every day, giving it all. And that was really fun, you know? You're creating with your peers, with your friends, and you're trying to do something that you're proud of, and something like that. You're giving it all. You could see it in everybody's faces. We were all like, that was dope, though. You know, that was dope.
My initial thoughts when I read the script was, as a fan and an audience member, I think people are going to be really, really excited. And then also just as an actor, it felt really thrilling and very creatively fulfilling. The story captures loyalty and family and almost a sense of strength that almost doesn't feel human sometimes. Like, it's this storyline and the challenges that particularly Tara and Sam go through demand a unhuman amount of strength and dedication and love with each other. And I think that it's only going to make our audience feel more and more invested in Sam and Tara's relationship and survival in the franchise. I think all of that comes from the care and approach that Matt and Tyler have to this project. You can tell that all they want to do is do justice to every previous Scream film that was made. And I think that's why this last film did so well, is because that did translate. That love and that care that Matt and Tyler have for what Wes created is so prevalent in their films. The process working with Matt and Tyler, it feels very supportive, very collaborative, very loving. Again, you're walking into something that's so developed. And as an actor, you want to stay true to that. You want to stay true to the history. So you don't want to touch anything. You're nervous. Like, tell me where to go, tell me where to stand. I don't want to mess anything up. I want to blend seamlessly into what's already been created. But the way that they approach this is, no, we trust you. We vetted you, we put you through the ringer to get this job, and we trust you now. So give us your input. Let's work on this character. Let's build this character. And that's so special. And then also just on set, they make you feel like you have all the time in the world to nail your performance. So that pressure that's always there as an actor to really nail it, it just gets lifted just a little bit, because you know that they're going to give you the time to get what you want and to get the product that you want. there's a lot of callbacks to the original. There's a lot of callbacks to every single film before this one. So if you're invested in the story that Scream has created, you will not be disappointed.
It's the family dynamic between the four of them, is that should something like what happened in Woodsboro happen again, at least they have each other to sort of rely and support each other through. I'd say for Chad specifically, he's not entirely autonomous without the presence of his sister. So I think anywhere she goes, he's more than happy to follow. Couple that with the fact that he has a deep love for Tara and immense amount of admiration, respect, and love for Sam as well. It only made sense that he would make sure that he was present wherever they were. New York adds an element of agency and higher octane level of pace that vastly exceeds maybe the other films just by virtue of the lifeblood of what New York City is. It's a very fast-moving, very high-intense sort of locale that I think perfectly embodies like what the sixth installment of Scream is and should be. Jasmin is not only the older sister, despite the fact that we play twins, I'm talking now in personal relation, the older sister and maternal force in my life that when I'm away from my everyday atmosphere of like being home in LA, I look to her for both grounding as well as social tutelage and like what it's like to sort of be comfortable in groups of people that maybe I haven't spent a ton of time with. She's a safety net on and off set. She's always there to talk. She's a great cook, great singer. Jenna is constantly teaching me things every day, and I think it'd be an easy compliment to say she's one of the smartest, most intelligent, insightful, and overwhelmingly beautifully composed person I've ever met, both on and off camera, in a way that's just inspiring to be around. I have to imagine the overwhelming amount of excitement and exuberance directed entirely to having Kirby make an appearance you have to want to appeal and excite fans enough to not only consider but actually follow through in bringing back a questionably fated character like Kirby, because I think it was obviously ambiguous for a reason. We brought in Kirby only, to me, speaks to how dedicated this movie, this production, Radio Silence, Six Cream in general is to making sure that the fans have a good time. Matt and Tyler make it fun to be an artist. I think moreover than working with them deliberately on set, it's the moments even leading up to filming where I felt like I could ask them anything about the script, about their process, about what we were maybe to expect when we got to Montreal, that allow me to feel safe and comfortable collaborating once we actually get here. They are absolutely artist first, and they make sure that the process is both understandable and productive as possible. I could speak highly about them for hours, but whatever instruction they give you on set or whatever direction that they have for you, it's always moving the needle forward. I'm always feeling like I'm getting better and I'm closer to Chad every time I speak to them. So for what it's worth, I think they're great at their jobs.
The one analogy we always use that if Scream 5 was the greatest hits, this one is the punk rock B-side of the Scream franchise. And I think we did that, and we brought some action to it and really ramped up the intensity of what's going on within the movie. And I think that's going to make the movie more fun, make the city more prevalent, make you feel like you're in a different place and watching a different Scream, but still getting a genuine Scream movie.
One of the things that was so interesting to us is that we all got really excited about New York. The things that we get excited about as movie lovers when we hear something is in New York. It's got an energy that you just love seeing in movies. And I think one of the things that we did is we wanted to make this a movie that is about people living their lives in New York, not New York.
Not the tourist version.
Yeah, so we were like,
Yeah.
this isn't about going to the Statue of Liberty and Empire State Building. This is about people living their lives in a giant city where there's millions of people. And how does that energy affect it, especially in contrast to a small, sleepy suburb like Woodsboro? So I think for us, it was really the excitement of how do we take the energy that we get when we read the script, the energy that we want to put into this movie, and the energy you get just from New York, period, and instill that all into one, exciting story. I think there's just a relentlessness and a kind of rawness and a sort of up all night thing, that we always gravitate towards. We love survive the night movies. We love movies that just kind of start, go, 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 and then when it's over, you kind of exhale and take a deep breath. And that was something that us, Guy, Jamie, William, Paul, we all wanted to go into this with. There's no off ramps. There's no slowdowns. It's really, it's just I hate calling movies a ride, but it's a ride. It's you get on and hopefully you really love the characters, and that's what kind of pushes you through it. But I will say the set pieces in this one are the most fun we've had doing set pieces.
Yeah.
This was a new level for us.
I think that this movie finds the four survivors. It takes place shortly after the events of Scream 5, and it finds all of them, I think, struggling to deal with, and in their own unique ways, the events of the last movie. And we loved the idea that this story was set right on the heels of the previous one, so that we could really explore how each of these characters is navigating or not navigating, refusing to navigate the experience that they had in the past. And it finds them all in a big city, hopefully, surrounded by an energy that will help them move on and deal with all they have to deal with. And of course, Ghostface enters the picture. They realize that, even in a city of millions, they can't run and hide from this thing that's coming for them.
Going from Woodsboro to New York, sometimes, even though Woodsboro is this sleepy, idyllic town where you could be isolated and alone in the woods or on the outskirts of town even, New York, sometimes when you're new to a city like that, you feel alone, even though you're surrounded by millions of people. There are monsters all around you. And I think the Halloween theme that we added to this movie was also inherent of that and super fun. We were able to play with these iconic villains and monsters and have them surround our heroes in just everyday mundane circumstances, just as a way to show that you could be surrounded by monsters. And obviously, not everyone who moves to a city has a masked knife-wielding killer chasing them, but sometimes it could feel like that. It is intimidating, it is big, and it is scary to a certain extent. And I think each of our characters deal with it in their own very specific ways.
I gotta say the subway for me. I feel like the subway because
Yeah.
I think we're all kind of scared when we're alone or isolated, but I think we tend to feel some sort of safety in public, even though that obviously shifts with the times. But I think making that scary it's genuinely terrifying, the idea of being able to be surrounded by people and still not safe, which I think, unfortunately resonates. And there's just something there that I think that this movie kind of gets into a little bit that's
It's a very contemporary fear in a lot of ways.
In this one, the core four was that kind of ingredient for us, where it was cool, this really gets to be about these characters, their relationship, how they're dealing with the past, how they're working together to get through this current ordeal. And, just to say it, the actors who play the core four have become really close friends of ours. And so watching that relationship between them and with all of us together kind of evolve over the course of both movies is something just really special that I don't think we were expecting, and that I think you feel when you're watching the movie.
We're just so excited for it to be released, honestly. I think that we have a feeling and energy around this one. I think some of it is just the pace that it's all happened in.
It's very fast.
But I think we really love and are so proud of how it turned out and the work that everybody has done. It feels like it's something really special at work in it. We can't wait to share it with everybody.
Oh my God, it's been so fun to be back. It's been chaotic because of COVID, but other than that, it's been a blast. And it's felt, just everything feels bigger. It feels like a bigger movie in every sense. And it's cool to be back with the family. she's such a cool character. I was given such a gift coming into this franchise in that way, you know. It's always a gift to be able to join something that you grew up watching. I was a fan of Scream, and I grew up watching the movies and admiring these actors, and then being able to step in and act alongside them is surreal, but then also like having a little part of this story and coming in with a character that is related to one of the OGs is insane. It's incredible. And she's also, I would say, not the typical final girl, you know? And so I enjoy that. I enjoy that darkness, and I enjoy getting to play such a complex character that divides people, you know? Some people are like really into her, and some people are like unsure because they don't know what's gonna happen with her. They don't know if they like her. They don't know if she's gonna turn. Like, it's all of these things that I personally enjoy. I was given a lot of the material, you know, in the script. Sam is written so well, and she has a whole backstory because there's 25 years of movies that she can draw from, and of history of the fandom and how this franchise has grown that belongs to her, that is in her in some way, because her father was the origins of it all. So in a way that gives her a lot of weight, that gives her a lot of like a heavy burden to carry, which already makes her different, like from the start. Most final girls are quote unquote good girls, and Sam is not. Ghostface always finds a way. In New York, in the chaotic and like bustling city of New York, danger is around every corner. And so I think it makes it that much more suspenseful, because everywhere that they go, at every corner, and in the subway, on the streets, in parks, wherever they are, there's a lot of people, and like anyone can be Ghostface. That's what keeps people coming back to this franchise, that it's always someone different. So it just the city feels more dangerous, I think. Oh my God, she's so great. Hayden is just incredible, and it's really mind-blowing to watch her like turn back into Kirby, and knowing her personally, how she's so different. She's just so good, so good. And it was so fun to have her around, and for her to tell us stories of her experience shooting the fourth one, and her being so excited to come back, and such a sweetheart. And you know, Kirby comes back as a fan favorite. Like, Kirby's back because fans love her character, and she gets to like play this, is she, isn't she, like, is she on their side or is she not, and all these like moments of doubt. And I think fans are gonna really love that journey of hers. Yeah, Matt and Tyler and Chad and William and Jamie and everyone, the creative team is just so good at picking people. I don't know how they do it over Zoom, but they just have this like instinct to pick like the best people for a project. And it's the best people, yes, because they're like talented and they can act the hell out of a role, but also just like great people to like hang out with. It's so interesting because we end the last movie, you know, very close. Like, I'm gonna hold your hand all the way there, and for that, Sam takes that to mean like, I'm gonna hold your hand for life. Like, I left you before, but now I'm not leaving you ever again. And we come in this movie, and they're like sisters, like regular sisters that fight all the time and that are sick of each other, but like Sam is the overprotective one that is taking her job like way too seriously, and Tara is this girl in college that just wants independence and doesn't want her sister hanging around and like watching her every move. So there's more friction, and Tara also has her little like journey of being in denial and not wanting to deal with that, and choosing to like just move on with her life and not even think about what happened ever again. And Sam is trying to get her to deal with it so that they can heal together, and by the end, they're on the same page. They're like, we have to deal with this. We're gonna do this together, and we're gonna move forward. It's so funny because Matt and Tyler are not like removed like sometimes directors are. They're like fully part of the group. We hang out all the time. I don't know if it's because it's two of them that they feel like more organized and we can like actually hang out and go out and have dinner. But they're also just like the coolest people, and I think they cherish the time that we have together and that we spend together. And they're friends. You know, it just feels like we're making a movie with friends.
This is not your normal Scream. Ghostface is going to be the pinnacle of sort of how crazy you can get, but without changing the core DNA of Scream, which is the fun. So the only way to do that, I think, from our perspective, was to go more action so that the horror and the scares were still there, and we didn't change the fun of it. And if you approach it from an action standpoint, I think the city just lends itself to that kind of energy. So we just took advantage of it.
One of the great things about this movie is that you're never taking your foot off the gas on this movie. And this movie, and I think, you know, you start to see it in some of the materials that are out there right now, it is a full ride, but you still have the DNA of what a Scream movie is, just bigger and different. And it's, you know, from the production side to the shooting side, they captured that so well in this one.
Each of them are remarkably special in their own way. All for the base level that you just have to understand is the raw, pure talent. They're each unbelievably talented craftsmen and women in acting. But from there is a personality that we look back and go, wow, did we get lucky? That we all just like each other. It comes off on screen that they all like each other. So the idea that they are the core four now, I think, was in the DNA of how much time we spent together on the first one. It was so much fun to bring Kirby back. The fans are going to be so excited how we use her and how she integrates into the storyline. Courtney is just remarkable. I mean, she shows up, she puts the work in, she's unbelievably dedicated. And this level of celebrity that follows her obviously is remarkable, you know, in the things she's done. But the fact that she shows up and after this many years of being in this franchise and just really sets a great tone of what legacy is. And she knows that character, like the back of her hand. She knows that character. And she does such a good job performing it. And she's fun. I mean, she's amazing. She's crazy talented. And all of the new cast just love her. And she has been unbelievably accepting of us and the new cast.
I loved all our sets. I mean, look, the subway is unbelievable, right? And I think, you know, it's interesting when you look at what she was able to do, not only with that set, but some of the other set pieces. They become characters in the movie, right? It's not just a backdrop where things are happening. It's a very interactive, you know, realistic place where you look around and you go, wow, this could actually happen here. And it creates its own sense of, you know, a fear in some of these scenes.
I'm a child of 80s movies where it's all popcorn and fun, and I think the fact that you leave the theater having had such a great experience and had so much fun, it's really rewarding for the entire experience to deliver. Right? It's not one scene. And there are great scenes, and there are scenes that I love more than anything, and there will be people that agree with me and have other favorite scenes, and all of that can be argued ad nauseum. But the idea that you leave having had a great experience and had so much fun and finished your popcorn and just said, there's a reason to go to a movie theater because you want to experience with other people, I think we delivered that, and that's what I'm most excited about.
The relationship with the characters in the movie and the core four, what has evolved with them, is super fulfilling. And just, I feel like it delivers on every level, from the emotional to the scary to the action to the fun. And we're very fortunate that we've been given this opportunity to do it. And every time I watch it, I feel like I'm watching it for a first time, which is really unique, I think, in a movie.